Hi guys, welcome back to our Globe interviews. I am host Starlight, and today we're at the Barcelona Avalanche Summit, and we're so happy to have Darius from QCP Capital as our today's episode's guest. So please welcome Darius.
Thank you for having me.
How was your day? I know you attended to the Barcelona's Avalanche Summit today, right?
I was the first panel yesterday, and then we've just been having meetings after. It's one of the first big conferences since COVID, so it was good to see a lot of people and a lot of old friends that we used to see in conferences before COVID as well. So,
and I saw new faces.
A lot of new faces. The crypto space has expanded tremendously, so it was good to catch up with old friends and also meet new people.
Can you share about your background and how you led to your blockchain journey?
Yeah, so I started my career as a trader. I was in a hedge fund called Diamond Asia. That's one of the largest hedge funds in Asia back then. It was like a $4 to $5 billion hedge fund. So I had the privilege of starting there. So usually people start at the banks and then go to hedge funds, but I sort of started at a hedge fund, so I got to see finance from a more broad angle, multi-asset class, different types of financial instruments as well. So had a very broad overview and was sort of deep dive right into trading. So I started my career there, was able to understand market structures and stuff like that. And then I was there for 4 years. And after that, I went to BNP Paribas, which is a bank. I was on the FX spot and derivatives desk, doing Asian FX. So all the Asian currencies, which have liquidity profile quite similar to crypto as well. And while there, I started trading crypto on the side. So our the first strategy was a very simple cross-border arbitrage strategy. So we were arbitraging global prices in Bitcoin versus like Korea, India, Australia. And we were making good money, right? I mean, at one point, the Korean arbitrage was 60%. So was doing that for a bit. And at the same time was in New York, BNP New York. Decided to come back and start the company. So to do crypto full time.
Wow. So if you have to say, what were the key things that you learned from your previous job especially as the trader in the traditional banking industry?
Yeah, I think one important thing is how to make money, and particularly how to make money from market structures. So understanding how markets are built. I mean, these are things that you don't really get from textbooks or school. You understand how the market structures are built, how they evolve, and more importantly, where the inefficiencies are. And that's where actually that's a good way to make money, when you understand the market structures, where the inefficiencies are, and where you can exploit those inefficiencies, or rather, put on trades that have very good risk reward based on market structures. That's one thing. Second thing, of course, is understand the cyclical nature of markets and how growth cycles work. I think that was very important as well. But in general, I think just understanding liquidity, understanding how markets work. That's very important, because crypto is I wouldn't call it emerging. It would be a frontier market, right? Very new product. Every day there are new products as well, and new coins, and understanding how the markets evolve in that way. I think that's something that it's applicable from TradFi to crypto.
Do you encourage people who from other industry to get involved this new field for them?
Oh, for sure, 100%, right? In the last few years, we've seen a very big flow from TradFi to crypto, because TradFi markets are more mature, so the profit opportunities are harder to find. Whereas crypto is a new market and it's a fast growing one as well. So there are a lot of opportunities in various sectors of the space that you can make a good profit from.
So first of all, let's talk about the QCP Capital. Can you share about what QCP Capital does, and what set you apart from your competitors?
Sure. QCP Capital, just a quick introduction. We started as a two-man prop shop. Today we have 80 people, mostly based in Singapore. We do a couple of things. We have always run a global spot OTC desk. That means we trade crypto. We change it for fiat. So we do the fiat to crypto exchange. You can trade crypto for stable coins as well. In general, crypto spot trading. So that's something that we've always done. And the second thing is we are big derivatives traders. So we run a very big derivatives desk, one of the largest globally. Last year we traded about 22 billion notional worth of options, for example. Options is a big specialty for us. We started very early in the options space. Back in 2018 we started in options. Back before we were one of the first to do that. I always felt that options would be a very big part of the space. I mean, the same way it is in TradFi, and it's growing very quickly. So we do options and derivatives in general. We trade them on exchanges, OTC as well as DeFi. So exchange-wise, we are one of the largest shareholders of Deribit. Our SPV is actually the largest external shareholder of Deribit, which is where most of the exchange crypto options are traded. We have a big presence there. We're one of the top market makers on Deribit as well as on Paradigm, which is the block trading program, or rather block trading platform for Deribit. And increasingly, we've been doing a lot of DeFi options as well. So that's a very interesting space to me because I think there's a huge amount of growth there. It's been explosive. I think DeFi options now trades a couple billion a month, and I think we are one of the main players there. So options and derivatives is the second part of the business. Third thing that we do is ventures. So we've been investing in the space for a long time, since back then. So back then we looked at infrastructure plays, right? So Deribit was one. Toko Crypto, which is the largest exchange in Indonesia, we are shareholders there as well. FTT, Serum, FTX, right? We were investors too. Layer ones, we were seed investors in Algorand, seed investors in Luna, seed investors in AVAX as well. So layer ones, the big layer ones, back then they weren't that big, was still small, and but we were investing back then. Other investments as well, I think, across DeFi, and more recently, we've been focusing a lot on DeFi options. So we incubate projects, we are advisors, and we invest across almost all the DeFi options vaults. So that's been a big play for us recently. So yeah, so three pieces. Global spot desk, big focus on Asia. So we help, we do a lot of local currency spot trading, like Indonesian rupiah, Philippine peso, Thai baht. Second thing is derivatives options, and the last thing is ventures and investment.
Oh, cool. So I want to know, what things if you want to invest in a project, what things you will think is the more important to you?
Well, a couple of things, right? The main thing is it has to fit with where we see the growth, right? So, like I said, when we first started, it was in infrastructure, exchanges, later on layer ones, and more recently, I think we've been a lot more bullish on DeFi. So, and particularly financial products on DeFi. So that's been a focus for us. So first thing, I guess, is it has to fit with the theme of where we see growth. Of course, the team has to be strong as well. And I think more increasingly, we found that the founders are important. So we make sure that the founders have the right motivations, that they're there to build, to innovate. And that's something that we look out for as well.
How do your service differ when comparing your institutional and retail customers?
So we don't really serve retail customers. We tend to serve more high net worth institutional customers. So we are primarily an OTC desk. So we deal with high net worth clients. We're quite high touch. So different from exchange, which it involves the user, trading themselves. I think we are more high touch. We are almost like a concierge service, right? So maybe similar to a private wealth desk, and at a bank or trading desk at a bank where, you know, we have clients who do larger sizes, and we give a more personal engagement with the client. So I think that sets us apart a bit from some of the others. We engage with the customer very closely, you know, and we provide quite a personalized service. Yeah.
Oh, so you just want to keep the quality?
Yes. So if you trade with us, it's always trading with a person. You know, our desk is a 24/7 desk, 365 days a year. It's always a trader on desk to engage. And I think another thing that sets us apart, of course, is the scope of products that we provide. I think we trade probably the widest range of altcoin options, for example, and various types of option strategies and products. So, you know, we do exotic products like reverse knockouts, reverse knock-ins, you know, different types of option structures that you know, we customize to fit the needs of our clients. So I think more highly customized service, wider range of products, and more complex products as well.
That's great. So what are the benefits of a QCP Capital being headquartered in Singapore? And are there any rules or regulations that customers should know in the crypto world in Singapore? Especially especially following the announcement of NFT taxation over there.
So we've always started in Singapore. I mean, we started in Singapore, and we've always been in Singapore. And it's a friendly jurisdiction for a crypto business. It's strict, and there are laws that govern crypto activity. But they are friendly in the sense that they want to grow the crypto scene in Singapore. So to operate a crypto business in Singapore, you have to be licensed. You know, so there are licensing regimes that we have to abide with, and you know, AML, KYC, very similar to how they regulate a bank. You know, so we do have quite a large compliance team that deals with that. With regards to NFT laws and stuff, I think, you know, it's very in line with the rest of the crypto regulation, or even tax laws generally in Singapore. If you run an NFT business and you create NFTs and you generate income from NFTs, you get charged income tax. But if you trade NFTs and you make capital gains, that's not tax. So Singapore doesn't have capital gains tax. So there's income tax, but no capital gains tax. So it makes Singapore a generally friendly jurisdiction. As a crypto company, we pay our taxes, and we're allowed to operate. And I think Singapore is a great jurisdiction. I think in the last 2-3 years, it's become an increasingly big crypto hub, especially with the tougher laws in China and Hong Kong. A lot of the Asian crypto companies have come to Singapore. So we used to be, quite lonely in Singapore. We're the only crypto trading company there, and but these days the community is much larger, and it's becoming I think it's becoming the Asian crypto hub. So I think it's becoming friendlier and friendlier in terms of a larger community, as well as the government understanding what crypto is and how to regulate crypto businesses. Yeah,
so we can say the crypto, the blockchain is getting more mature, in the whole situations. Right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more clarity, as to which parts of, what kind of businesses you can do, what kind of activities you can do, and what you cannot. Mature, that's one way to say it, I guess. It's the community is getting bigger, but I think it's still early days. I think.
You think it's still in the first stage?
Maybe I don't know. I mean, first stage is probably when we first started in 2017. I think it's probably, it's grown a lot. So but it's a lot more to grow, right? So I mean, the space is expanding very, very rapidly. But now, if you go to schools, if you go to family gatherings, people know what crypto is. So I think, so I don't think it's mature per se. It's still a very new asset, and people are starting to understand it. I think there's a lot more way to go.
I will say the cryptocurrency or the blockchain is getting more popular.
Oh, very much so. I mean, when I first started, I remember, I went to my business school professor, and he was like, what are you into? What is this Bitcoin you're doing? Is it a scam? But, these days, he's asking me, how do I put this in my syllabus? Putting crypto into into the school syllabuses. He's saying that all his students are trading crypto.
All the students.
All the students are trading crypto. I mean, he gives a lecture about stocks and bonds and commodities, fixed income, but they leave the class and they're on Binance or FTX trading crypto. So I think it's becoming a lot more popular. I think the younger generation especially, right, are a lot more crypto savvy. And I think it's the choice of investment is crypto rather than the more traditional assets, I think, among the younger generation in Singapore. So, and I'm sure it's the same rest of the world as well. So yeah, for sure, I think it's becoming a lot more mainstream.
Yeah. Even my little brother, he's only 18 years old, and his cryptocurrency knowledge is so much better than me. Yeah. So, what difference that you noticed between Asia and the rest of the world of crypto?
Yeah, so this is a great question, right? Asia is a bit of a unique area because the crypto growth and regulations have been quite diverse. Mm-hmm. I think in terms of speculating on crypto, the Asians were, of course, the earlier adopters. That's the reason why you had the Korean arbitrage, right? Because the Koreans were speculating very heavily on crypto, and they still are. I think Asians by nature, I think they tend to be a bit more, have more of a gambling nature, So I think, an asset with huge volatility, I think is something that's attractive to Asians in general. But it's very diverse, right? So you have China, which is where a lot of the early adopters and projects and miners were from China, and of course now that the activity has come down a lot given the regulations. In Korea as well, I think Korea still has a very, very lively crypto scene, and especially these days the crypto gaming scene is very big there. But yeah, you still have a lot of mispricings because the Koreans are speculating on their local exchanges. You get big price gaps. So very, very active trading community in Korea. But regulations there are tough as well, right? So you have it's constantly changing there. And in Southeast Asia, you have every country in Southeast Asia has different regulations, right? Indonesia, I mean, we know it quite well because we one of the partners of an exchange there. They were very friendly. The commodities regulator there took on crypto as part of their mandate. And they sort of declared crypto as a commodity there and allowed the trading and projects to thrive there. Vietnam is a difficult one, for example. Again, lively gaming community, but regulations are not super clear. And then you have Singapore, which has clear regulations and attracts more of the financial institutions. Thailand has like 5 different licenses. Philippines was one of the earliest to have a virtual currency license. But so I mean, it's very diverse. But in general, I think a lot of crypto activity in Asia. I mean, for example, when Axie Infinity came out, all the gaming guilds, and to this day, the Filipinos are still the ones who are participating mostly in these games, right? So I think a lot of the guilds have 80% Filipinos and 10% Indonesians, for example. So a lot of the crypto activity is still driven by Asia. But I would say a lot of the tech leadership still comes out of the US. But a lot of the users and retail speculators are still quite Asian driven. Yeah.
Until now.
Till now, for sure. I mean, even with clampdowns in China, I think there's still quite a bit of trading activity there. A lot of it has come to Singapore, for example. But Asians are still quite a strong block for crypto trading, and I think it will continue to be the case going forward as well.
Where do you see the future of blockchain? Let's talk about in next 5 or 10 years.
I think it's a very exciting point in history, right? I think a lot of people are not really understanding the significance of recent events. So with the way the war between Russia and Ukraine has panned out, and the economic responses to the war, the way the SWIFT system was weaponized, the way sanctions were levied on Russia, it was economic warfare. And the way that has panned out I think has a huge impact on the financial landscape and especially crypto, because you now know that if you keep your money in the bank, and if you're, let's say you're Chinese, right, and you keep your money in renminbi in the bank, if there's a geopolitical situation, is that safe? You're not sure about that, right? Sanctions could cause your assets to devalue tremendously, the way it happened in Russia. So, why does this have an important impact on crypto? Because crypto is a asset class that is now scalable, that's big, that is a healthy financial ecosystem that is not aligned to any sovereign state. So it's insulated from sanctions, it's insulated from geopolitics to a certain extent. So it becomes a safe haven, right? So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we see a huge flow of assets from traditional markets, sovereign markets, into crypto, which is a non-aligned asset ecosystem. So I think recent events are going to have a very big positive impact on how people adopt crypto and the flow of crypto, especially into DeFi. So DeFi is a independent financial ecosystem, if you can see it that way, and I think it's going to become it's going to have a big draw. So I mean, if you look at the discords in a lot of DeFi protocols, you'll see a uptick in activity from Russians and Chinese, right? So it tells you where people's attention is going to, especially if you're in a country that's not aligned with the United States.
So the last question is, but not least, so what is next for you and the QCP Capital as well?
Yeah, so I mean, we run our business has grown tremendously in the last 5 years. Again, from 2 men to 20 men to 80 men, 80 people, and I think that core business will keep growing as well. I had the view early on that financial derivatives on crypto would be a big market, and it's grown tremendously, and I think it will keep growing as well. But I think what we are focusing on is building in DeFi. Given the view that I think DeFi is going to grow, we've helped to kickstart the DeFi options vaults, right? And that market has grown from last year April to now, from 0 to over $1 billion. It's very quick growth, and I think there's a tremendous potential there to see a lot more assets flowing in, a lot more users, and more importantly, I think it's very important for that market to grow as well. I think it's a big wave of younger people, realizing that they have options, or rather they have choices to where they can manage their assets and see their assets grow outside of traditional finance, outside of the banking system, and opportunities for them to grow their wealth and manage their wealth independently. I think with the space growing, I think what we need to do is create better products. Yeah. There's still a big gap between the current instruments available in DeFi versus what we see in traditional finance. And of course, the big gap exists because DeFi exists without intermediaries. So they do have to solve for that issue, right? Meaning that how do you trade in the same way on similar products without an intermediary like a bank or a broker or whatnot. So DeFi has a lot more to do in terms of coming up with creative solutions and innovations for users to be able to trade and manage risk properly. So I think that's our focus. We see growth there, and we want to make sure that we are building and providing liquidity and providing solutions in both crypto and more specifically in DeFi as well.
So the DeFi, we can say like DeFi is quite important in the whole Web3 situations.
I think it's hugely important. I think that's, I think even the regulators recognize that that's the way the world is going, not just for trading and options, and it's for settlement, for money transfer. It's, eliminating the intermediary and having all this activity on DeFi, I think it's how the world will look like in 5-10 years time.
Are there any big news that you want to share to our audience today?
Well, I think the view is that, right, that we are in a very interesting period where crypto is starting to become mainstream, and there's a lot of doubt as to whether this the growth has been too much and too fast. Possible. I mean, there's a lot of stories about, people becoming multi-billionaires, whether it be from investments or NFTs. I mean, there's a lot of craziness going on. But I think there's real value underneath as well. So, I truly believe that, this crypto and DeFi offers something of value to societies in general. So, that's the view, right? That's the big view that assets will continue to flow into crypto, into DeFi. And that's where we want to continue to build.
Thank you guys for watching this episode. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for our guest, Darius. It's our pleasure to speak with you. And see you guys next time. Bye.